And of course, you're live right now.
Oh, yeah. It's wait a minute and try again.
You're live right now.
But it says to try again.
Okay.
There's an error occurred. Let me look on Facebook.
No, I can see you on Facebook and I can see you on my screen.
Oh, all right. Then here we go.
The doors of the Love Church are now open. Dear world, you name it, we cover it from the world of singles to the behind the scenes of the greatest movie ever filmed, called Marriage. We dig into everything from dating 101. Why won't they commit? It's complicated. I can't do it if it's the three of us. They're a good person, but I'm not attracted to them in that way. 2, they really didn't disclose who they were before I said I do. How do I do this if they can't keep a job? The bills are paid, but the bedroom is suffering. Did I marry you or did I marry your family? Because we only can take care of us. Let's open up our marriage. Why do I have to buy into your beard gang illusion? You could have told me you were down low and we could have remained friends and not married. And last but not least, did you marry me or your pastor? Have we gotten your attention yet? If so, tune in to Unique Perspectives Love Talk Radio, Thursday at 4:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, if you want to hear more of today's real issues in the world of love. The doors of the Love Church are now open.
All right. Welcome to Unique Perspectives Love Talk Radio. I'm your host, Mr. Charles Dixon, along with my co-host, Mr. Adam Ford. How are you, sir?
Good, man. How y'all doing today?
Pretty good. Let's see.
Yeah. So how you doing? What's going on with you?
Man, just taking it easy. You know, it's been a lot of things and happenings. You know, as you know, we lost one of our good guest friends from the show, Miss Janice Westbrook. That was unfortunate to hear. You know, very opinionated, funny lady, but sad to have to, you know. Yeah, it makes you think about life, man. It makes you just think about. It's like each time we hear of people passing and things like that, we always say, "Oh, that's sad." Then we live our life, but we don't realize how short life is, and that we got to appreciate it each moment we can. You know what I'm saying?
Life is short, man. Every moment that you have, because you don't know when that moment is going to be your last moment.
Yeah, but you know what? Even earlier in the week when they had the thing with the boat that hit in Baltimore, that's right down the street from where my son Josiah lives. So, of course, I called in, make sure they're good, whatever. And it's just like, it's just these little freak things happen to make you just be like, man, you know, you got to be on top of your stuff. Make sure you good. All right, so it looks like let's see, the president. Is that the president of the Usher board, Marlena? Okay, yes. And then Miss Abigail, she looks like she has the blessed oil in her hands to pray for people. All right. So anyway, good to see y'all. Glad that y'all are here. Hold on a second. Don't mind the noise. I'm kind of like a noisy spot right now. But anyway,
they coming to get you? That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, they said since instead of raiding other people, they just gonna come and get me. Yeah. Anyway, hey Tamu, how are you? So listen, all right, let's get into it. Today's topic is toxic love, the new dream life, and white picket fence. Now, think about that. The new dream life and white picket fence. Once upon a time, we used to always, that was the goal people aspired for, to have this wonderful family, to meet this wonderful spouse, and you have this house with a wonderful white picket fence and everything is hunky-dory. Now, hello, Miss Demetria, but nowadays what we have is it's in reverse. Okay. And it's like the goal is to have the edge, have the issues, have the problems, but they be manageable and no one leave. Right? We deal with the problems because they bring us a certain euphoric high. That's really what toxic love is about. It's like, you know what you see, you know what it feels like, you know it doesn't feel good, but at the same time, it's almost like the common, when we go down the Skid Row and we see the common drug users that sit there. Right. They know it's wrong. You know, if they could clean their life up, they could. But a lot of them are addicted to the euphoric dopamine that lifestyle brings. Mm. So in the toxic community of love, that's what it is. So I wrote something where I said, "Welcome to the era of toxic love, where right is now wrong, and wrong is now right.
Wow.
Being good is lame, being dysfunctional is lit.
Hmm.
Honesty is the new deceit that covers what's still considered to be wrong. We are being deprogrammed against normalcy, where a constant IV of attention is needed in exchange of self assurance and confidence, or your vehicle of love will run out of gas." That's where we are today.
Wow. Wow.
So we have to talk about it from that perspective. But the one thing I do want to point out, when we think of toxic love or toxic people, we immediately think someone is cursing somebody out, abusing them, cheating on them, when really toxic is just really anything that's considered a negative practice against the normal progression of relationship and love.
Okay.
There's a million things that we could do that doesn't add value, right? And if it doesn't add value, and if it's eventually going to push us closer to a demise, it's a toxic act.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, so when I think about toxic, I think about something that is simply just not healthy.
Yeah.
Something that can damage you, something that can injure you, something that kind of seeps in and just sits there. Maybe you don't smell it, maybe you don't taste it, but it's there, like a gas leak. The gas leak is toxic, And if you're not careful, if you stay in that environment long enough, you'll become poisoned by that environment. You'll become toxic as a result of that environment.
Wow.
So it's important that we are aware of the types of toxic behavior that can infect us, because in the end, that's what toxicity does.
Yeah.
It spreads, it wants to debilitate you, it wants to poison you, and it wants to just literally infect everything else around it until the entire environment, your entire surroundings are all completely toxic. And it's important that we are aware of this toxicity so that we don't carry the same toxicity into other relationships, connections, people that we know, and it's just important that you're just kind of like, okay, look, let me check me first to find out whether or not how toxic I am before I enter into somebody else's life, bringing that same level of toxicity.
Yeah. Man, it's like a thing where I guess we have to begin, as much as we're being programmed, because I have to believe most people in all cases, in some cases, don't start out like this, right? There's a lot of contributing factors from what I think it's largely due to the things we consume, the things we look at on TV, the things we see trending right before our faces on a daily basis on social media. After a while, if you see something enough, and if it also appears to be monetizing in any way, right, or bringing some sort of life to you on another level, it begins to make other people question their methods. And they're saying, well, it seems like this person is living this kind of life or doing this, and they seem to be winning. But over here, this is just regular and nothing is coming of it. So what people do is they go about living this life, and it's sort of like love without walls. And I don't mean, now don't get me wrong, you should be free to love in whichever way you and your person, how you guys agree to love one another, that's your business, right? But what I'm talking about is relationships, marriages need structure, right? They need some sort of, how do you say it? It needs to be boundaries around it, even if you guys set those boundaries. When you just leave it free, when it's just free fall, do what you do, go do whatever, it's like you leave a lot of room for error, right? And so once we start accepting error, we sign an agreement with demise. So we have to say to ourselves, I have to think about this and say, is what this person said to me, what I saw them do, is this something that I really want to live out my days doing? Because what happens, the toxic spread, as you put, the toxic spread begins to come when you accept things, whether you don't say nothing or whether you argue and it doesn't change nothing, and you keep going, the spread is on you. Now it's like whoever is the most, I guess, aggressive offender in the relationship is kind of having their way. And once they're having their way, you'll notice yourself beginning to feel like a different person. You'll begin to say, this isn't, I don't normally take stuff like this, so I would never let someone talk to me this way or do me like this.
Okay.
And here's another sign. If you find yourself saying to a person, more than enough, why do you do this to me? Or why do you do me like this?
Right.
The toxicity is already spread over to you.
Wow.
Because standards and self-assurance would cause you to stop that a long time ago, or at least get on it way back when. But if you're finding yourself asking an offender, why do you keep doing this? The offender can say, because you keep taking it. Right. And if you keep taking it, then okay, let's just keep it rolling. And so at the end of the day, you just have to take an active role in taking responsibility for where the relationship is. Because like you had alluded on earlier about breaking down toxic things, after a while, your relationship will begin to smell. And other people that come close to you too, can already be like, oh man, like, it's nothing like someone else that can see you're in a worse condition than you and your person can see.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
It's interesting because if we're going to further that analogy, it would be like walking into a room that smells like mildew and mold, but everybody else is in the room, but they can't smell it. The reason why they can't smell it is because they've been conditioned by staying in the room to the point where the mold no longer alerts them that this smells funky.
Oh, wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you walk into the room, you smell mold.
Yeah.
That just don't smell good. This is
Yeah.
But everybody else in the room is like, hey, what's the problem? What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
And so now you have to begin to think about what you have tolerated versus what you're willing to accept.
Yeah.
There are a lot of things that we tolerate and end up accepting in the long run. The red flags that we saw, the questionable behavior that we observed, the language, the communication that was lacking. These are things that you need to kind of, particularly at the beginning of the relationship, you need to begin to confront so that these don't become toxic practices later on down the line within the parameters of the relationship.
Wow.
You got to be able to spot these things and troubleshoot them as they come, instead of, because this is what a lot of us do, because we are, I guess, in love, not to say that we aren't, so infatuated with the person, we allow them to slide with a little bit of their toxicity. We allow them to kind of like get in just a little bit with, with their nature and what they do. But in the end, if you don't address this as soon as you possibly can, that thing is going to grow and it's going to spread.
Yeah.
And then you're going to have to deal with a monster that you allow to be created instead of dealing with the issue at the beginning of the situation.
Wow. And that's like you said, that's even worse.
Yeah.
But so what we need to also talk about is everyone who can say amen or that's right, most of us that are saying amen to what you're saying, if we're honest, there is something about the toxic exchange that we enjoy. Whether it is no difference than our guilty pleasure of watching Love and Hip Hop Miami or whatever your thing is, whatever we have our ratchet things that we want to do and take part in. But when it comes to relationships, we say to ourselves, "Ooh, that seemed like that's a little bit of a project. Interesting." So we find dysfunctional things that we see at the onset, or we already have an idea what we'll get from it. We think it's interesting.
Yeah.
So we sign up for it, we go along with it, and don't let us get something from it that we like, whether it's the way the person treats you. Oh, they always taking me on trips or buying this or giving me this, or the classic, the sexual attachment, right? The sexual attachment is great. And so that's one of the things, the sexual part and the money part is one of the major components that put folks to sleep. And it, like Demetrius said earlier, it makes them nose blind immediately.
Right.
When that aligns, people will stop smelling a lot of stuff for the sake of what's happening.
Yeah.
Until it becomes peril. Then
Yes.
we want to start telling our friends and family, I don't know, I'm thinking about leaving or whatever, but you're still in it, right? So we got to ask ourselves, what is it about that euphoria that we find in normal relationships are dissatisfactory?
So part of my thought in this is the fact that I think a lot of us, and if we're really honest with ourselves, a lot of us have learned how to accept dysfunction as function.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think about it particularly when it comes to when we were growing up, family settings, how we were raised, what we were taught, not so much by what was said to us, but what was done before us, what we saw our mothers and fathers do in their relationships. Some of us grew up in homes that didn't have a father. Some of us grew up in homes where we things were happening to us that we did not understand that were happening to us. And as a result of those things happening to us, we are now calling the dysfunction that we have experienced as function. You see what I'm saying? We're calling the abnormal normal because this is the construct that we were raised in. Yeah. And this is what you walk out of that home with looking for. So instead of looking for something that's functional, that's supposed to be good for you, that's supposed to be healthy, we go in the opposite direction because the dysfunction is the normal thing for us.
Yeah.
The toxicity, if you will, is what we're looking for. We're not looking for something that's healthy and wholesome. We're looking for things that actually we are familiar with.
Yeah.
Because this is how we grew up. This is what we were taught. This is how we were allowed to behave and what the behavior that was presented to us. These things presented so often, so frequently before us were things that became a part of who we are. And now that's all we see. Yeah. That's all we want. And this is the reason why we reject the good and accept the bad as being okay.
And another thing that we realize, I see the ladies are now bringing up the key word is trauma, right? And one thing I have learned is when you get two people on a head-on collision course that both share the testimony of trauma, to them, it is the greatest bond ever. Because the thing about trauma is just about identifying that we both see and feel things the same way. So we both have no problem with how stinky this smells. Right? That's basically what you're saying. I'm traumatic, you're traumatic, we both smell like this. Are you good? I'm good. The thing about healthy people is when you get people together that are trying to be healthy, the challenge to grow appears.
Yeah.
That's what people shy from, because if you're challenging yourself to grow, that means someone will hold you accountable.
Right.
You told me to remind you to do this. Are we still going to do this? You begin to be like, look, let me be stinky in peace. I want all this clean stuff. So, in so many words, it's it's right, but you've been so conditioned, as someone said, to be in this funk that the funk just becomes comfortable.
Yeah.
I remember times I used to go back in maybe in the 08, 09 when I was really going into the studio a lot. I would go in there first, and it would first just be me and the engineer. Now, he was an avid weed smoker, avid. But after a while, he would have those days where he would have all his friends in there while I'm recording, and it smelled like we was in a forest. It was just like I'll be in there like, but
Right.
look, I probably was getting contact too.
Yeah, you was getting some contact.
But the point I'm making is, after a while, when I came in there, I didn't smell anything.
Wow.
The same people were there, the same, they were always smoking, but because I had gotten used to coming into an environment where that was the norm, my senses adapted to it. And at first it was like, oh, what is this? Now it's just like, oh, what's up? I'm gonna get in the studio and do me, and that was that. And so this is how we enter into relationships. We enter into them, and it just becomes, we think it's okay initially, but then we enter into them, and you see what's going on. You see that person living a certain way, talking to you a certain way, having awkward and odd expectations. But at first, you give a little kick. You may say something, but the trade-off of the other stuff that you like makes you begin to slowly but surely get quiet, and you take it.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. That's the thing. I mean, nowadays the word for conditioning is literally being transitioned from conditioning to groomed.
Yes.
Have you noticed that?
Yes.
That in our zeitgeist, in our vernacular today, we're moving from conditioned to groomed. How people have been groomed or conditioned to accept certain things, to allow certain things, to tolerate certain things. And again, I really do believe that it is coming from or stemming from a lot of our upbringings, because again, we all some of us may have come from broken homes. I came from a broken home. My mom and dad weren't together. They were divorced and everything like that. And so there are some behaviors that you learn from a broken home that you don't learn from a home with two parents.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And what's normal for a single family home, or a single parent home, is not normal for a two parent home.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so now you got to make that transition. You got to make that shift, that move from being in a place that wasn't completely complete to a place that is complete, so that you can desire something that's actually whole. But again, some of us are stuck and paralyzed in the past in terms of what has happened to us, that when the good thing does approach us, we can't identify it. We don't know what the good thing looks like. All we know is that the bad thing is all we've ever had. And again, when the good thing shows up, we don't know what are we supposed to do with this? What are we supposed to do with this person that's loving me without no strings?
Wow.
What are we supposed to do with this person who's sharing with me all of their feelings? Because I didn't grow up like that.
Yeah.
I didn't experience life like that. That's not what was taught to me. What was taught to me was, keep my emotions suppressed, come after you physically, get your sexuality. That's what I was taught when I was growing up. So for you to sit here and to say, no, we're not doing that right now, because I don't believe in that right now. We talk about what's really going on with us. That's foreign to us. Again, this is how you need to be able to identify that toxic behavior within you, so that you don't continue to make the same mistakes and make the same choices that you've made in your past.
Wow. That's good, man. This takes me to the other part of the segment where I want to get into, because there are some people, honestly, I know it may seem like it's rocket science, but some people really have trouble recognizing when they are in a toxic like scenario, right? So I'll go through a few things that are kind of like telltale signs as to identifying characteristics of toxic behavior. Number one, there's an emotional scorecard. One common denominator among many who struggle with toxic behavior can be an emotional scorecard. Your partner may save up all of the bad or hurtful things that have occurred in your relationship and use them against you as a weapon when you argue or disagree. That's one. All right. The next one is emotions are projected. When a partner with toxic behavior is in a relationship, they often project their actions or emotions onto their partner. For example, if your partner has insecurity in a relationship, they may belittle you and claim that you're insecure. That's one.
Wow.
Another. All right. Another one, displays of jealousy. Displays of jealousy can be clear telltale signs of toxic behavior in a relationship. In general, you should have a relationship built on trust. Even in a new relationship, there should normally be no reason to act or feel jealous because you should each have confidence in one another that nothing unsavory is going on. Well, not in this day and time. Anyway, okay. Another, your partner doesn't try. Your partner doesn't try. Anytime you have a disagreement or argument, you may find yourself bending over backward for your partner and receiving nothing in return.
Okay.
All right. It seems like you can't say no. I'll repeat that one. It seems like you can't say no. When you're involved in a toxic relationship with someone who displays toxic behavior, it may seem as if you aren't able to disagree or say no to anything they say.
Wow.
You're isolated from friends and family. Your friends and family may be the first to see the problems with toxicity in your relationship. For this reason, many partners with toxic behaviors make it their first order of business to separate you from these people. All right, we got almost to the end. When does a healthy relationship become toxic or an abusive relationship? In both healthy and unhealthy relationships, a person can engage in toxic behavior without realizing they're doing it. However, if someone intentionally uses abusive behaviors or harmful behaviors to assert power or control over their intimate partner, this might be considered an abusive relationship.
Okay.
All right. So yeah, these are some of the things just to see, and I'll post some of these things to just help people kind of identify, some of the things that we commonly do as we are relating that we may think that's not much, right?
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
See, the ladies are already firing off the word. Demetra and Michelle. One says manipulation, the other one says narcissistic.
Yeah. And you never want to be in a relationship where you're being manipulated and exploited to the advantage of the other person. I mean, love should be a free exchange, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to manipulate me to get what you want. If you just ask me, I'll give it to you. What's the deal? What's the problem? And so when you have people like that in your life, I'm good.
Sometimes it's hard to discover it right away. Because sometimes, like you said, you're saying I'll freely give it to you anyway. You don't have to trick me for it.
Right.
But the whole, again, go back to that word, the whole feeling of euphoria comes from me finessing it from you.
Okay.
It doesn't feel the same when you're like, oh, I'll take you to shopping in about a month. Okay, let me save up my money and we're going to go. The person like, no, I want to trick you so you give me the money this weekend. This, people don't want to. The whole high of this whole thing is being on the front end of the toxic relationship. You want to be in the driver's seat. You enjoy it, so you want to take all the necessary turns to get the experiences out of it that you want.
Yeah.
Or else you wouldn't be in it, but you're in it because it's sort of like people. I knew people growing up. I had, I'm embarrassed to say.
Here we go. Story time. Here we go.
I was going to say growing up in my mind, said that wasn't that long ago. But anyway, I remember dealing with a person, definitely toxic person.
Wow.
But this person had a fixation to taking things out of stores. I'm not even talking about stealing clothes and things. I'm not even talking about that. They would go places. It could be the doctor, wherever. That person come out with a bunch of rubber gloves, mask, go in the bathroom. Look, I'm embarrassed to say the person will go in the bathroom and come out with their whole bag will have all this toilet paper. I'm like,
what?
oh, but anyway. So again, though, like we said earlier, like that post just said, when you see it, you know it is retarded and crazy.
Yeah.
In the moment, you're in it. You don't smell it and you don't see it like you should. The average person should be like, no, this right here is no good. Run.
Yeah.
In your mind, you be like, oh, that's their little thing they like to do, and you write it off because you figure, oh, they just got their little fix. But that fix is a problem, which I clearly later found out was a big problem that led to all kind of other stuff. But the point is, in the moment, we don't think about it like that. It's like we see all of these dysfunctional things that we know doesn't align for us, or we know is not right. But at that time, when you really start to, the sad thing is when we really start to see it is when you already have all of the feelings that keep you entrapped.
Wow.
So initially coming in, you're so arrogant because you feel as though you're in control of you.
Okay.
I'm here, but I'm not really present. I'm hanging out with you. I'm dating you. Yes, but I'm in full control. So you don't see those things that you should see. But when you get them feelings and when you get to getting attached and more attached, you can see really clear. It's just like the dude on The Sunken Place from what's that movie? But anyway, the dude that got to the sunken place, Get Out. It is the thing that once you're in it, you can see what's happening, but you paralyzed. You can't do anything about it because emotionally you caught and hook, line, and sinker, and now you're in this thing that you try to make it your business to get out. You know what I'm saying? Literally.
Right.
Yeah.
God dog it, man. That made me want to just run for the hill.
Yeah, it's some stuff, man. That's why it's not good. It's like I can identify when people say it can be an addictive attraction when you are with someone that lives on the edge. Okay. Right, do things on the edge, risky, take chances. Because 9 times out of 10, if you're finding excitement by it, it's usually because it's either agree with something that you do or something you're not familiar with. Okay. If you're not familiar with, it's amusing. So you're like, oh, this person is crazy. And the first thing you say, okay, I see all of this stuff, but is it manageable? Can I manage it? You think, can you manage it? And so you think at first, I can contain it. It's cool. It's not going to be a big deal. But then over time, the more sunken in the scenario you become, the more uncontrollable the whole situation overall becomes. And now you're the stinking person.
Right.
That everybody's talking about.
You're both stinking together now because you're bought into the whole idea of what they're doing as being something that's acceptable. Versus you calling them out on it and say, hey, this is not cool.
Cool.
No, we're not doing this. No, we're not finna do this. Oh, no, not the kid. No, you put that toilet paper back in the bathroom and leave it there.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's address this issue. Let's call this out too. Let's call this out real quick. Because I think you can't talk about toxicity without at least skimming the top of the topic of mental health.
Oh.
Because some of this stuff I'm finding is a lack of just being able to take care of yourself on a mental level. You got issues. Again, the ladies have already brought up the issue of trauma. Trauma doesn't go anywhere until you begin to address it.
That's it.
If you're going to continue to do what you do and you're behaving the way that you're behaving, we got to have a talk about this stuff.
Yeah.
Stuff that you're taking from the stores, it's kleptomania, but it's coming from a place inside of you.
Correct.
That needs to be addressed, that you have ignored for so long.
Yeah.
The stuff that you're doing is literally your mind crying out for help. Come pay attention to this particular issue so that we can get this thing resolved so you can stop being a toxic person.
Wow.
And for so long, we have allowed ourselves to let people go because we think it's okay.
Yeah.
Or that's cute.
Yeah.
Oh, Uncle Tommy always used to act like that. He's he's always been crazy.
Give him a pass.
You give him a pass on it.
Yeah.
Not realizing that this is a problem.
Yes.
This is an issue that has to be addressed.
That stems from somewhere.
Yeah. It's coming from somewhere. Let's talk about where it's coming from. Let's get down to the nitty-gritty so we can be people who are healthy and whole inside and out, man. You know what I'm saying?
Now, Demetria brings up a good point. She says for years in our community, it's been ignored, the idea of, mental health being valid. That's because I personally think for many years, the reason it appears to be ignored because we replaced giving attention to it with covering it.
Okay.
Think about how earlier on in our families, I don't care if it's our churches, things have happened that were traumatic.
Yeah.
But in order to keep the business at hand going or to keep the image of the family up, we cover it. We get quiet. We don't tell. We don't try to go out there in the street telling our business. And then eventually your business tells on the family when people grow up. Right? They're going to turn around and tell what happened eventually when they grow up and it starts to eat at them enough that they can't contain it no more. So this is something that's, and like you said, the next thing you know, we have this community of toxic people still desiring love.
Yeah, and here's the thing though. I'm not going to go too far down this rabbit hole, but I know somebody's going to pick up on it.
Yeah.
It's and you're talking about covering. A lot of us have used the church as the cover.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
We have used the church as a cover to say, oh, that's a demon. Oh, he got a spirit.
Oh, wow.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When in fact, this was a mental issue that if addressed could have been resolved by a professional.
Yeah.
If they only had gotten the therapy, the counseling, the help that they needed in order to deal with that issue successfully.
Yeah.
We want to, man. See, I know what you did when I started this. I don't want to go too far down this, but we gotta realize, and let me put my pastor hat on real quick.
Okay.
We gotta realize that some of the sciences, all of the sciences that we have, are a gift from God.
For a reason.
Psychology is a gift from God to help us to understand the functioning of our minds, to help us deal with emotions and trauma in our lives. These are gifts and talents that God has put in the earth to help us as human beings become better than what we are.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It ain't enough for you to go to church every Sunday with the same issue and it not be resolved. You in the prayer line every single time they call an altar call for the same problem and nothing has changed.
Yeah, wow.
But you refuse to seek therapy. You refuse to talk to somebody about the issue. And all the while, it's becoming worse, dragging you down. Ladies and gentlemen, we have got to do better.
And we frown upon it, though. It's frowned. A lot of times, I remember coming up, and I can't say that it was this way all the time, but I remember when I came up in church, you rarely heard when you had people, whether it was your immediate family, in the church family, somebody's married, someone's relationship, whenever it became a problem, rarely did you hear someone say, well, what are you guys going to do about this? Well, we're having the appointment on Wednesday with Dr. Herman, and he's really been a blessing to our family. Because now it looks like you don't trust God. And so because you don't trust God, you're supposed to go in that office and tell the pastor and let him pray over you. Right. He's not licensed for this. He brings the word, but he's not licensed for this, right? And I know a lot of times pastors wear a lot of hats, but they're still not licensed for everything. And so a lot of times we go in and we throw this stuff on them like, let's go on in there and not go over there. Because I remember many times that I would think of alternative decisions and things to go and go do or go get help from things if I wanted to talk to someone. But you felt back in those days, you felt bad because you felt like if you went outside the circle, not believing, right? And I'm like, no, they got help over there. My job has EAP for a reason.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? But if you go to do it or talk to someone, it's like something you're not believing or trusting enough.
Wow.
So we're stuck with whatever we're dealing with. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, again, I don't want to go too far in this rabbit hole, but I know we don't know what
I know, we got over here.
Nobody can bear witness to the fact that the church is toxic to some degree.
Wow. Uh-oh, here we go. You're gonna get Demetri gonna get going now. Come on, Demetri. You're gonna get Demetri on fire now.
Listen. We got people in there with problems. And I understand, yes, Jesus is the answer for the world today. Above him, there is no other. Jesus is the way.
Yeah.
But we got to address the issue that we got some mental stuff going on.
Yeah. We
got some stuff that we have to talk about. Stuff that happened to us, that was done to us.
Yeah.
And I'm not, listen, I would lay hands on everybody if I thought that it would cure them just like that.
Right.
I would pour oil all over you if I thought it would fix you just like that. But that's not the case. There is a process to healing. And part of that healing is seeking the healer that can heal you.
Wow.
Some of the healers are psychologists, psychiatrists, therapists, counselors. And yes, even some pastors have degrees in psychology so that they can help their saints become better and remove the toxicity out of their lives.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So all I'm saying is this, y'all. Listen, let me get off this right here.
All right.
I don't want to go too far down here, but all I'm saying is listen, it's going to take more than prayer for some of the stuff. I believe in prayer. I pray every day. But some of the stuff, you got to walk it out. Somebody talk to me in here.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff, you got to walk it out. Okay,
you got to be instrumental in your own deliverance.
You got to take responsibility for some of this stuff.
Yeah,
and that's another subject for another. But some of us don't want to be responsible. But we have to we want to put it all on God. Have God do this and God do that. But God is waiting on you to do some stuff. Hello, somebody.
Yeah,
that's all I'm saying. Right. Come on, let's do what we got to do. Let's begin to be faithful stewards over our minds. Faithful stewards over our emotions. Let's get rid of the toxicity because the reality is that you in the relationship and you toxic, but you take that toxicity everywhere you go.
That's it.
Church goer, believer.
Oh. Wow. Everywhere you go.
Yeah.
So we have to. So the goal is, we first have to be true to ourselves. And as grown people, it's either we accept where we are in these toxic environments. Mm-hmm. Look, if you're content there, stop ranting over social media about it. Yeah. Making a post, talking about the person, stop doing this and saying this. If you like toxic love, then do you.
Oh my God.
Do you in your concealed environment. Just don't spill it out into the street, right? Do you in your world. But if you are saying to yourself, maybe I didn't realize that this really was toxic, there are ways to get out of it, right? There are ways to address it. The first thing I would do if I noticed it is I would bring it to my person's attention first. And then, are you picking up that this looks like kind of like what we're doing? This really doesn't look like, this is healthy. And if you have a person that's willing to work with you, they may say, well, tell me more about it. And you think so? We can talk to somebody. But if you have someone that's 100% sold into toxicity, when you bring it up, they're going to get mad. They're going to blame you. It's going to become an argument. They're going to think you're judging them. It's going to become a whole different thing. So I guess you have to know your person to know where things are going, whether it helps you or not. Yeah.
Well, you should be able to talk to them. Demetri, I'm with you too. We're on the same platform when it comes to that thing. But yeah, you ought to be able to have that person. You ought to be able to talk to them about it. How is it that we have these people in our lives that we're in relationship with? We say that we love them. We say that we care for them and we're committed to them, but we don't want to talk about the stuff that we're seeing them display.
Yeah.
So now I'm questioning your level of commitment. I'm questioning the quality of love that you have for this person, because a person that really does love them and is really committed to them will say the tough things that need to be said. Me and my wife have conversations like that. Yeah. They're not always the most pleasant conversations, but we do have those conversations. And as a result of having those conversations, things change. Things get better. we get rid of the dead weight that's holding us down, and we come to a better, greater understanding of what we need to do going forward.
Wow.
We need to have these conversations, because without these conversations, we're languishing. We're dying on the vine, literally.
That's it. That's real talk.
And we gotta, I don't want to sit here and die on the vine. I want to move forward. I want to progress. I want to be better tomorrow than I was today.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That means I got to put some work in. I got to do what I need to do. You know what I'm saying? And create a toxic-free environment. Detox. Here we go. We need to detox some of this.
You know, to me, one of the most important steps that I believe a lot of us need to adopt when we are going into these relationships is be like, sometimes like you may catch a person and they're at a position in their life where they're like, look, I want to get married. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of that. I've been through this and that and the other. I've been in this toxic situation. Maybe I've been married, maybe not, you know what I'm saying? Whatever the case is.
Yeah.
But when we encounter these people that we are interested in to go forward, to me, step one is be honest with your initial assessment.
Okay.
Initially, when we're with people, we already kind of soak up what it is happening. Okay. But the problem is we look at our timelines, we look at our list of how people line up against it, we look at what we like from them, how they make us feel, and then we begin to apply pressure forward. Okay. And instead of being honest and saying, listen, I like this, that, and the other, but maybe I'll flip the script and tell this person, why don't we talk about this a little bit? Instead of talking about anything else, about any plans, right, let's talk about what we see in one another.
Yes.
And whether or not we are healthy enough to really, really, really run this course right this second. Yeah. We're not healthy and aligned, right, but sometimes the clock, that they make stopwatches for a reason. The track, when they click to run that 100-yard dash, it's over after they hit the tape. It doesn't keep running, right? Sometimes you got to say, this part is over. So let's stop, go back and re-rehearse for the next situation, right? The next, but we don't have to keep this thing going just for the sake that somebody has a destination at a certain time, right? We got to just say, is this healthy? Is this pathway we're walking healthy?
Yeah.
If it's not healthy, you'll just have a person to cross the tape with you. I don't know if you ever see those races where maybe they may have a person that is a para-Olympian and they'll have a person that's not. And they're running. They're attached to each other. And the one person is running and kind of grabbing it, and the other person is running however they can.
Right.
But when they get across the thing, you cross the tape. But in an ideal world, we want to cross the tape mutually intact, right? We want to say to ourselves, we got to cross this thing healthy. I didn't have to drag somebody that was bleeding with a trail of blood that really isn't healed yet. They don't have no bandages. They haven't been stitched up, but I like them. So come on anyway. Wow. And that's really the reality of toxic relationships. We deal in, we lay in, wallow in things that we know are undone. As much as I love a good yellow cake with chocolate icing, I have seen people try to make cakes before where that cake come out that oven all gooey, not ready. Oh, okay, let's leave it alone. But the point I'm making is nobody wants anything undone.
Yeah, that's true.
If you're along the way, are the proper steps being applied so that on the other side, this thing comes out right?
Right.
Or am I rushing it through the incubator?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah.
Your whole point about running across the finish line with somebody, I think a lot of times what we have done in our relationships is we literally drug the person with us.
Yeah.
Just so we can say, I got somebody.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? They with us, but they not really with us.
Yeah.
We might be beside you, but they're not really beside you. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And we think that's okay. We think that's cool to have somebody, just to have somebody for the sake of having somebody. Well, I don't want to be with nobody that don't want to be with me.
Yeah, that's it.
You know what I'm saying? And further to that, I want to be with somebody who is whole, not in pieces,
Wow.
not fractured. Okay. And
Fragile.
I understand. I get fragmented, and I understand. You know, some of us have some things again that we have to all deal with in our lives. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But you have to make the effort to get healed in order to be healed. If you never show the doctor the injury, how does he know what to do to help you get whole?
That's it.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, just
got some work to do. We got some work to do.
Yeah, you got some work to do.
We got to be honest with ourselves first and just say, listen. Even if you're in something that you're not aware of your funk, right? Or you and your person's funk. If you take the time, you ever notice how you might sometimes you may have had a long day, you was working out, running, or whatever you were doing, and that little wind blow a certain way, you'd be like, is that me? You know, you're thinking to yourself, I thought I put deodorant on, you might be thinking or whatever. So what I'm saying to say is if we get to ourselves and focus for a second, we can smell what's not right.
Oh yeah.
The problem is sitting still long enough to pay attention to you and your person and say, listen, I know we've been running and just changing clothes and putting cologne and perfume on, but we stink, right? We don't smell good. And so how about we sit down and really unpack this so that we can try to see whether or not this makes sense, period.
Right.
Or if we can sit down and redirect this thing in a more positive and healthy pathway.
Right. Yeah, because it's time to address your toxic behavior. It's time to address the things that you're doing that are detrimental to our relationship.
Yeah.
I'm saying if I'm sitting here and, you know, my wife is doing something that I believe is detrimental to our relationship, you best better believe I'm going to speak up and say what I need to say because I'm expecting her to do the same thing. And she does.
Oh, wow.
She don't cut cards.
Well, let's see.
You see, come on, let's go. Come on, let's go.
You heard what he said. He said that he tell you about yourself. All right. But seriously, it's like, no, that's real talk though. That's for real.
You gotta have those open lines of communication. Yeah.
Bruce said it's self-examination.
Exactly.
And we're grown enough to have those examinations.
You need to. They're necessary. You can't live without them. Why are we sitting here walking around with busted up arms, busted up legs, and we trying to act like everything's okay? It's the why.
Listen, man. Comfort is bliss. People rather waller in their self-misery because it's comfortable. It doesn't require me to stretch.
Right.
It doesn't require me to get up and go 2 miles running and doing all these things where I just don't feel like it. Don't you still love me? You still here, aren't you? Let me buy you this. Let me do this. Let's make love. We all right? We don't have to clean up. This is good. This is what the toxic world looks like. People don't want to. It's toxic because you don't want to acknowledge your funk and you're addicted to whatever element of that funk that provides the euphoria.
Wow.
And unfortunately, think about this. Most of the good is always attached to the toxic person.
Wow.
It's most of the time when we can sit around and talk about something that we had a great memory with this person or this lover or whomever, it's 9 times out of 10 attached to the broken person. And that is because a lot of times what that person has perfected that you enjoy, they perfected it because they've neglected the healthy part.
Wow.
Focused on the unhealthy because they found value in the unhealthy. They say, if I can perfect this, I can move about through life, getting and doing whatever I want to because I'm good at this and they're going to love me for it. Yeah, they'll love you externally, but the goal is to get someone to love this so that they don't want to do life without you. I knew people that would talk about, like, you know, relationships, and maybe we were in a relationship one point or another time, and if the relationship parts, people would dare not take the time to get themselves together. What they want to do is let me find my next intimate partner. Since we cool, but right now, since we're not this, I still need to be intimate. And that does nothing for you, right? It does nothing for us to just switch dance part. You know how you had to dance at the house parties back in the day? I'll take this dance at them. They take the person, and that's really what's happening. No one is sitting down, wiping their brow, taking a break. People just swapping partners on the dance floor.
Yeah.
We dance in one relationship of dysfunction to the next. And that's why we got all of these stories, but no healthy revelations.
Wow.
It's just a bunch of stories and experiences about this, that, or the other, but no healthy testimonies because we haven't given ourselves a chance to experience it.
Yeah. I mean, that's real talk, man. You doing all this stuff, you change. And here's the thing, though. So about changing partners, that's kind of messed up because the moment that you leave the partners that you was with before means that thing has to be closed. But more often than not, it's not closed.
Yeah.
It's still open. It's still, you know what I'm saying? And so as a result of that, you walk into a new relationship, still focused on the old relationship.
Yeah.
Still hold on to the old relationship, trying to get to the new relationship that you're not even ready for.
Wow.
You're not even prepared for.
Wow.
Still behaving like the old one. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. At some point in time, there has to be a change.
I saw a post earlier, not too long before the show, that there was a lady and she was saying, call me toxic. But she said, when I end a relationship, she said, I end the relationship with your friends, with your mama, with you. In other words, what she's saying is I don't play these games where I'll be like, she was talking about a lot of her friends be like, girl, I don't care if you got a new person. Me and Miss Pearl is ride or die. She loved me. Like we take solace in the fact that an old lover's family or mother still is attached to me. Okay. You know, you're not attached to him. He going about his business, or she going about her business. Right. But we found some kind of peace in saying, but they still love me though.
Yeah.
Really dysfunctional. How
you going? I mean, so you going to the holiday Thanksgiving dinner with them?
Yeah.
In their new boo, you going in, show up at their mama's house, and they there with their new boo, and you just showing up because you still tight with mama.
But you know why people do that though? A lot of times we do that whenever you see someone who holds the key, right, to a store that has a new owner.
Okay.
Is because something about that closing that we have not closed out internally. Exactly. And we feel as though the store should still be opening with us behind the cash register. Right. So we feel like, how do you think, how dare you move on and give that person what I thought our life should be?
Yeah.
But when that person lets you know, I'm okay with you not in my life, that's your sign.
Yeah,
if somebody lets you know I'm good without you in my life, that is your sign to carry on with your life.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And again, that's a sign of somebody who, again, may not realize it, but they are toxic.
Yes.
They're unwilling to let go.
Yeah.
Unwilling to say this is done. Yeah. Unwilling to close out the book. Come on, man.
Yeah, wow.
We can do better than this. We can do better.
No, I'm telling you, we do all kinds of things to hold on to. It's like I'm telling you, the reason why these toxic relationships is the minute we notice them. I'm not going to say that we don't always know we're in them, but the minute we become aware, it's either are we going to clean this up,
right,
change it, or this isn't healthy for me to reside.
Right.
Because if you don't, these relationships take you down a place where it damages your self-esteem. Yeah. It damages your mental health.
Yeah.
You forget who you are because you're lost in the trauma.
Right.
And so that really comes down to it. Nobody and nothing feels that good or does nothing that great that's worth your mental.
Right.
Nothing, right? Your health. Your mental health is first and foremost, and if that person or those people are carrying and handling you in a way that's less than conducive for your health, that's just your telltale sign that this isn't for me.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's time to move on, man. It's time to let it go. just got to be able to understand and recognize the signs when they present themselves that this is over, and not be that toxic person. That don't be that stalker that stalks your ex because you don't know how to. No, come on, man. We can do. Yeah, we can do better than that. But listen, that's too much work. Give yourself a break. You know, come on, man. Nobody want to do overtime on that.
well, listen, man. Listen, we appreciate you all for tuning in. I'm gonna throw a little something in for you all. Mr. Adam, he'll get an A+ today because Mr. Ford participated when really he wasn't in a good physical state to participate.
Dude, we're not doing that today.
I know. He wasn't feeling too good, but I'm not going to go into his business. But the man went ahead and did it. I told him to leave the drugs alone. But anyway, he did it anyway. He went ahead and participated today. So big ups to Mr. Ford for hanging in there. And still, you couldn't even really tell, but he hung in there anyway. Much love to you, sir. But anyway, we appreciate you guys for tuning in. We definitely will return next week, same time, 4:30 Central Standard Time.
Share the podcast, share it, like it, share it.
Yes, we appreciate y'all. We just we keep bringing this because we enjoy it.
Yeah.
We don't trying to ask nothing from nobody. We just do this out of the kindness of our heart. We just like talking to you guys about it and just letting this stuff go like this. Yeah. Now when we get off of here, Adam, I'm gonna say what I really feel. But anyway, all right, y'all. We shall see y'all the next time.
You ain't right, dude.
All right. All right.
Peace, family.
Okay, let's see.
Oh man, you gotta see.
Hold on. 1 second.
So unprofessional. Just come on.
Oh, I know. It's just that's what ghetto stuff is about. That's the fun part. All right.
Yeah.
Now the show is over. Did they dismiss church yet? Okay. Now
everybody walking out. They walking out the back door.
So the part I didn't say about toxic love is that it's good. It's like, no,
I knew you was gonna say that, Trav.
I'm playing. Listen, toxic love.
You wasn't lying. You telling the truth about yourself.
Toxic love has a draw, right? But it is not worth it. Because I guarantee you this one thing, we may joke and we play, but if you think about your life and most of the hellacious things, or when your life has taken a hit in one area or another, I guarantee you at the helm of that hit, at the helm of that interruption is a toxic person that you could not separate from. Most of the times, things that happen to us is not just that we make mistakes, but sometimes we turn over ourselves to someone else who's not responsible enough to handle you. Right. And what that person does is fumbles the bag. And then once they fumble it, it's just a wrap. And you put your safety, your emotional awareness, your control, all of those things you've given over to someone else because they make you feel a way. Right. And that right there is the beginning of the toxic marriage. Once we say to ourselves, once you honestly say to yourself, I know that doesn't feel right. I know it doesn't look right. And my senses tell me it isn't right. But that right there sure is right. You are signing the agreement of toxic love. Period. Point blank.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else, sir?
We on YouTube. I know they're asking about us being on YouTube, but we on YouTube, right, bro?
Yeah, we on YouTube. Who says this?
Bruce said we need to be on YouTube so that
Yeah, we on there, Bruce. I'll start posting the link, but we on YouTube too.
Yeah, we on YouTube.
Yeah.
So you can check us out there too. Share it and like it and everything like that. So we can become
Yeah, man.
YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. Be safe.
Have a good week.
I'll let you know.
Peace.